News Radio 1000 KTOK, Gwin Falconer-Lippert here with you. And there's a great opportunity coming up. We've talked about it before, but the second half is getting ready to start. And I'm talking about OKC Town Hall. Joining me is George McDowell, and he is the chairman of the board. George, welcome to 1000 KTOK. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, Gwen, thank you. It's great to be on. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And it's very exciting because the next 3 months, starting February 17th, we have some great speakers coming to Oklahoma City. Tell us about Oklahoma City Town Hall and who is coming.
Well, you're right. I mean, we have 6 speakers a year, and 3 in the fall, 3 in the spring. And so we're starting our spring season on the 17th with Trey Gowdy, who a lot of people know as a former congressman, is now an attorney in South Carolina. And we're really excited to have him. He's probably been the keynote of our group this year as far as well-known speakers. We also then have a speaker, Michael Donahue in March and Paul Moore in April. But a little bit about Town Hall, we were started in 1933 with the purpose of educating and entertaining the citizens of Oklahoma City. So essentially, this is for everybody in Oklahoma City of all ages. And our hope is that they will be better informed with the speakers that we bring in, and that'll be an enjoyable day for them. Our lectures are held at Church of the Servant at 11 a.m. on the third Thursdays of the month. And then we have a lunch for those who wish afterwards. The lunch is at different cost. And the spring year is, and you get all our half season is $60. And that gives you all the privileges of regular season membership. And that gives you all 3 speakers, which will be $20 a speaker. So it's incredible value, and particularly like most people would pay, $60 just to hear Trey Gowdy, and here you get him for $20, which is amazing.
Well, and it's so nice that Church of the Servant is such a nice big space. Town Hall chose this for its size. It's not that it's a religious affiliation or anything. Town Hall just chose it for its size. And they have wonderful audio visual and that large sanctuary where you can sit. And then the speakers have been so dynamic, and they have PowerPoints, and they have stories that I don't think you get anywhere else.
Well, you're right. It's a great venue for, you're like close to the speakers, but yeah, you have plenty of room to spread out in the facility. It seats like 1,300. And we usually have, anywhere from 600 to 700, 800 there. So there's a lot of room to spread out. We presently have about 900 members, and we have a few people who come, just to hear a particular speaker. But our half memberships right now are $60, like I said, for the year. And the neat thing about it is that gives you the opportunity, if you're not able to come, or you're still concerned with COVID, that you can live stream the lecture. In other words, we are now live streaming all 3 lectures we have coming up. And the lecture with Trey Gowdy is really going to be neat because all the people who have either half season or full season tickets can do a Q&A with him afterwards. We have a deal of where we're having a text number that's sent out to everybody to where you can text questions in, and Mr. Gowdy would then answer them in about a 45-minute time, 35, 40 minutes after his regular lecture. He'll stay and do that Q&A. Normally that's done at lunch, but he has a tight schedule and has to leave early, so we're accommodating everybody by doing the Q&A right after the lecture. So everybody can participate. Now, we also have single tickets available, and those are $25, but they're only available at the door, so you have to come to get those. And that's still tremendous value to hear Trey Gowdy for $25. And you can come to any of the other speakers for $25 also. It's probably one of the, like I said, one of the best buys in town. Everybody who comes are shocked that they didn't come sooner and they didn't know about it before. Because I know I was that way when I came. I kind of heard a little bit about it, but I came going, God, this is incredible, and I've been missing it all this time. So
you are so right. Hasn't it been going on over 80 years?
Well, it started in 1933, and the junior league started it. And then once they got it going, they, of course, turned it over as a regular nonprofit. So it's run by all volunteers. So the neat thing about it is the reason we can offer these great speakers at these prices is it's because we don't pay anybody. Everybody volunteers their time. So all the money collected for season ticket holders and single ticket holders and sponsorships goes directly to our speakers. I mean, so we can pay and bring in these fabulous speakers, because otherwise we couldn't bring in the speakers that we do.
So at 11 o'clock on February 17th at the Church of the Servant, Trey Gowdy will do his approximately hour-long presentation. And then there'll be questions and answers. And I think it's always kind of cool that you can, ask a question, or you write on a card and they pass the cards up, and then they hand him the card and he answers the questions from the audience right then.
Right. Well, if you're there, you get to you fill out a card and we'll turn it in. If you're not in attendance, if you're at home or office or wherever, you can text a question in. And then we actually write it on a card and then present it to Mr. Gowdy for him to answer.
Did he say what specifically he's going to be talking about?
No, actually, our discussion with him from the beginning was current events. Because of his TV show, because of his background, I mean, he's very versed in what's happening in the world and in domestically. There's so much going on right now that it'd be good to get some intelligent insight into. I mean, anywhere from the situation, on the border, the situation at the Supreme Court,
the Ukraine. My goodness, yeah.
The Ukraine is as scary as heck, and stuff, and also China and the North China and the China Sea. He has information and knowledge about all of those. And the thing I like about Trey Gowdy is he's kind of middle of the road guy, and he's not too far left or right. And his main concern is learning the truth about a situation and then presenting it to the public to where they can make their own decisions as to how they feel about it. He's not trying to push anybody in a particular direction. In fact, I heard him do a deal the other day on the Democratic and Republican parties, and he basically scolded both of them about what they're doing. I mean, he was bipartisan in his discussion about where both parties are messing up. But that's kind of where he is. I mean, his whole thing, in fact, he says in his biography, he wants to know the truth, and he wants other people, he wants us to know the truth. And I think that's, so what we're going to get coming up in 2 weeks is we're going to get the truth about situations as he knows it and as he understands it. And the neat thing about it, I think we could ask a question about anything going on in the world and probably get a fairly informed answer to your question.
Absolutely. He was a congressman. He served in the House of Representatives from South Carolina, and now he is part of Fox News Primetime, and he has to stay up on all this stuff. And it is very exciting that he is coming to Oklahoma City to the Church of the Servant. And I would suggest people, the parking is free there on MacArthur. Yeah. And I would suggest you go early and get a really good seat. And
you probably need to be there by 10:30. That's a good point. I mean, so you can get a good seat. And also, we're going to try and start a little early, just because I know the announcements and everything. Because we're tight on time, we want to make sure that Mr. Gowdy has as much time as possible to share. So it'd be great to have everybody there 10:30, 10:45.
Yes. George McDowell
And
is
then there's
my guest. Hold on, George. I'm not going to hang up on you. I'm just going to turn you down for a second. I needed to have a commercial break. I'm Gwin Falconer-Lippert. We're talking about the Oklahoma City Town Hall Lecture Series, and the second half of the season is starting February 17th. And for just $60, there are 3 great speakers, Trey Gowdy being the first one, February 17th. We'll talk more about him and the other 2 speakers when we return. You're listening to 1000 KTOK. I'm Gwin Falconer-Lippert. Back with George McDowell in 3. Talk about the other 2 speakers. Trey Gowdy, again, is February 17th. And then Michael Donahue is March 17th. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, one of the things about the next 2 speakers that kind of shows what Town Hall tries to do, and that is we try to have 6 different topics, 6 different opportunities to hear information you wouldn't otherwise hear. And that's what's going to happen in March and also April. But in March, Michael Donahue is a historian, particularly on the Old West, and most particularly on General Custer. In fact, he in the summer is a guide that there. He's written like 4 or 5 books on Custer's Last Stand, the Little Bighorn Battle, and his last book, Where the Rivers Ran Red, is considered one of the best essays of this epic battle. But he is an astute historian of the Old West, and what we're going to learn about here is exactly what happened in that battle, the mistakes that he made. Also, he's going to give us the perspective from both Custer and the Native Americans. And I don't know if you've been there, but having been to the battle, it's fascinating just what I've learned, and I can't wait to learn more just from him as to how this took place and exactly what really happened, because there's so many stories about that aren't true, that we'll be able to learn exactly what happened in the true essence of this particular battle.
It is fascinating to me that he is an historical interpreter and a park ranger at that park, and has been that.
He's also an art professor at Temple. So he also is, he's an expert on Western art. So, if anyone has any questions in that regard, they can bring those up too. But so he is a very a broad knowledge person on this area, and you're right. He loves that battle so much that he's gone there for I think 31 years to be a park ranger in the summer and be able to share his knowledge with people. So now he's going to be able to share it with us, and I'm pretty excited about it.
And we're hoping that he will be able to be at the luncheon, which normally follows the lecture, correct?
Yeah, good point. We usually have a luncheon where the Q&A is usually held. We're not doing it with Gowdy, we're doing it at the lecture, but what it gives you a chance is to have lunch, get to know the speaker better, and have your questions answered. It's a kind of a relaxed format, and also visit with your friends and kind of just enjoy each other.
It's it's a great time. You're right.
Yeah. It really is. And then in April, we're going to have Paul Moore, who's an artist and a sculptor. And Paul, he's the main thing that most people know about him here is that he sculpted the run of 89 statues that are down, on the canal. I always tell everybody to go past Bass Pro Shop.
Go to Bass Pro, right. The Centennial Land Run Monument, which is absolutely spectacular because not only are there 45 pieces and, of horses and cowboys and men and women and children and dogs and everything, but they're larger than life. And it is spectacular. It crosses the canal and everything. It really is, I think, Oklahoma City's best kept secret.
I think it's one of the most dynamic things that everybody ought to see, and most people have not. But they are 1.5 times life size. And what I'm fascinated about, and what I'm really interested about, is every one of the characters, every one of the people have a face of a figure that made that run. And every one of them has a story behind that person. And I can't wait for him to share with us the stories that are behind why he picked that particular face to be in his statues.
Yes.
And
have you ever taken children down there? It is fascinating.
I've taken my grandkids down there a number of times, all the way, even back when they first. I go probably. I take people down there maybe 7 or 8 times a year.
Oh, wow. I go there a couple of times a year. And, when they first started putting the bronzes up, you could actually go up and touch them and everything. It's all landscaped and protected. But there was a dog with a tail sticking out, and every kid down there would want to go and sit on that dog's tail. But now you can't get quite so hands-on with it.
No. Yeah, we were kind of spoiled because I'm like you. I started going from the beginning because, in fact, I interviewed him before it ever was put on here, and
Really?
because I was alerted to him, and he showed me his grand plan at that time, and he had it all pictured out. He had some minor sculptures in his studio in Norman. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is, he's put a studio in Norman, and he started that foundry in Norman, and he's attracted sculptors from all over the world who are using that foundry to do their casting for their sculptures. He also was a teacher, a professor at University of Oklahoma, and he has attracted all kinds of people to that art department there at the University of Oklahoma. And Norman is become a major area for sculptors to come and to have their statues cast.
That's incredible. Yeah. It
really is.
Those bronzes.
So he's quite a pioneer himself.
Yes. And so he's done more than 150 pieces in the past 40 years, and he got his sons to help him do this. He's the one I was the most excited about, just because I'm such a fan of the monument and everything. So
yeah.
It's very exciting. So once again, let's tell everyone how they can get tickets to all of these, and it's an incredible rate.
Okay, you've got 2 good ways to do it. And one is you could go to okctownhall.org. That's okctownhall.org, all one word. And then click on lectures there, and then you can just purchase your $60 half-season ticket there for the next 3 speakers. Or you can call 405-202-4262 and buy the tickets over the phone. Or you can just show up the day of the lecture on the 17th of February and purchase the tickets there. You can purchase single tickets for $25, or you can purchase the half-season ticket for $60 at the event.
And
so you have actually, go ahead.
It's going to be fantastic. I'm so excited, and I think the weather's going to be good. I just have a real good feeling about the second half of the season.
Well, I'm excited because we have 3 totally unique speakers with different expertise that each one I think would be very entertaining. And I don't know which one I like the best. I'm kind of like you, Gwin. It's all of them are fascinating to me, and probably I'm leaning toward Paul more myself because I really can't wait to learn more about the sculptures.
Yes.
I like to bring people. I like to do tours of Oklahoma City of friends of mine who don't know better, and take them to all the places they don't go. And of course, that's one of the places I start is with the sculptures, because they're just blown away that something of that magnitude is in Oklahoma City.
I agree. So once again, they go to okctownhall.org. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, or they can call 405-202-4262, or you can run the risk of getting tickets at the door unless, I guess we sell out.
Yeah.
And,
well, that would be terrific.
And if you buy the half-season ticket, the $60 ticket, you also get the link to the streaming. So if you want to perhaps look at it more than once. Is that possible, George?
Well, actually, what it is, you can live stream each of the 3 lectures, but also, that's a good point, we send out a link after the lecture to where we record each lecture, and you can watch it at your leisure. So even if you can't go that day or you can't listen to it, by live stream at the time it's given, you'll be able to get a link to watch it at a later date.
Very exciting.
And most people, what's interesting, some of these lectures are so detailed that, there's so much information that I've had to go back and listen to them again just to pick up all of the information that was given.
I know that I have enjoyed going back and watching them, yes. Well, George McDowell is the chairman of the board of the OKC Town Hall Speaker Series. I thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you for having us, Gwen. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you, and I hope to see you there soon. I'm Gwin Louise Falconer-Lippert. I am glad that we got to talk about OKC Town Hall. And remember, you can get your tickets now if you go to okctownhall.org.